Hey, Internet friend, this is me, Bradley G, here in friendly Fridley and Synergy Cafe in an undisclosed location. Can't tell you where the secret club is. Secret club. Just goofing off. So I've got a special guest today. This is kind of fun. For those that know, I'm on the committee for the Fridley 49ers. And that's how we crossed paths. And then we got talking about other things. And we found out we had a common interest in the martial arts and also community building. So that's kind of how this came about. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about community. And specifically, I think he lives in Coon Rapids. I live in Fridley, and we've got around us, we got Blaine and Mounds View and Arden Hills and New Brighton and Columbia Heights. But his name is Tommy Drager. And he's the founder and president of Delta Chi. Now, Delta Chi is a martial arts organization, and one of their core things that he put in as founder is community. And I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go to the green room and go get him. So hang tight. I'll be right back. There he is, Tommy D. How you doing, everybody?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm phantasmagorical.
I love it. Love the language. It's really nice outside, and so I'm good. I'm glad you're good too.
Well, cool thing about this platform, we were talking about it earlier in the green room, and that StreamYard, I can basically do this stuff from my phone. So if I could prop this up against a pine tree or something, and we could do it outside. It's kind of an interesting thing with all the bells and whistles on here. So I like it.
Cool.
Anyways, we're going to talk about community a little bit. Because when I first met you and what I was trying to do, I'm a long-term resident of Fridley. I grew up and lived in the same house for 53 years. So there's real deep roots there. And then I got married. We bought a house in Golden Valley. Then I moved to Asheville, North Carolina. Then we bounced back to Minnetonka, an apartment, decided to get a house, looked all over the cities, and ended up back here in friendly Fridley. And I thought, this is my second go around. I wasn't really active in community here as a teenager or young adult, but now I'm coming up on 67 or 68. I'm at that age where I don't remember, and it doesn't matter anymore. So I'm interested in building community too. So that's what I wanted to talk with you about, because you got your martial arts. Now, this isn't like a regular, like a karate center, like some people call it.
No. So I actually decided to call it a volunteer and outreach organization. Because to me, the community was the first and foremost thing on my mind. For me with Fridley, I lived there when I was young. It was funny. There was a kid there that was a next door neighbor, and later when I worked at Best Buy, I ended up actually meeting him a second time when we were adults. So we were like maybe one-ish. My brother was born in '89, and we had lived in Fridley for a little bit. But then we ended up moving to Coon Rapids a little bit later. So yeah, small world. But, and just kind of like how we met, where, it's funny because we have common connections and things like that, like you talked about with the martial arts. But, who would have thought me wanted to be a part of the parade and have a table and then end up meeting you. So it was a blessing, and my church is also there over at Prince of Peace. And so that's what was my initial draw to the community of Fridley. Was some of my ties when I was a kid, but then also really my pastor in my church. That was a huge thing for me. And with the karate, my best childhood memories were the kids in the classes, my friends growing up, us getting our black belts together, going to school together. Karate really builds this second family almost. And so for me, that's the importance of it. But what I want to be able to do is to be able to give people a place that they can come where it's community first, where they can grow, develop, have some fun, do some events, doing cleanups like we were over at Moore Lake Park a few weeks back. I'm looking into contacting the city to go and find the next our next volunteer opportunity, and it'll be open to the community and the students. So that's kind of my goal, is to be able to give a place that people can come, where they feel like they belong, where they feel like they have something that belongs to them. And that's why I allow people who decide to donate or to become supporting members to be able to join the board, because I want this to feel like their home, feel like it's a place where they really belong. So,
well, we've got it's interesting. We've got two totally different lifestyles, if you will, and whatever, but there's commonalities in all of them because aside from the community thing, I wanted to have a little, like a second family kind of thing, where that's where this private club concept comes in with this little funny little board that I had there. The idea of having a place, because Fridley doesn't really have much of a main street, if you will. There's more apartments popping up here than community. But with what you're doing, you could all of a sudden do a blast out to the community and say, hey, meet me over at Moore Lake. We're going to have some lemonade and cook some brats and talk about how to make the Northeast metro area a better place.
Right. Like there's the church that we're located in, the St. Philip's Lutheran Church off of 65. We're going to be a part of their garage sale, and we're going to be helping with a lemonade stand. So my son and then maybe some of the other students will kind of help out and, maybe take some donations, things like that, to be able to help like get new equipment and things like that. Cause our student population is starting to grow. So we've got consistently a good 8 to 9 students in the little kids class. I decided to call it, my son and I decided on the name Little Stars. It kind of goes into our whole branding of stars for safety. But anyways, so little things like that, even just, being able to have some fun, give some lemonade, be able to share what's going on with us, but then, invite people to come and hang out.
Well, that's also what's kind of cool about it, because a lot of people, when they think, oh, karate, that's dangerous. You're a bunch of rednecks, they're fighting. That's not at all what it is. It's more, I've got a 3rd degree black belt. I've been in it for a long time. I'm in my late 60s, and I think I've only been in 1.5 fights. Yeah. Because you have the discipline, you learn that. And the idea of you going out into community and saying, you know what, this is really more about community and family than it is about fighting, but you should know how to protect yourself. And if it's not protect yourself, it's situations that happen in life. Because I think I told you my story about getting hit by a car and almost run over in my hip, but I had the ability to react fast and jump high, so it hit me in my foot instead of my hip.
Yeah.
It saved my life.
Yeah, it's you never know, because there's so many the skills transfer across. Like my son has been telling me that because they've been starting to play flag football, or the two-hand touch, and he told me that, hey, the stuff that we're doing at karate has been helping me in football, because my personal trainer skills, I kind of bring it into the class. So we're doing this thing called a diamond trial, where it really tests their agility and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of fun. I was really glad to hear that feedback from him, because
that's cool
I had
this idea. Up on it.
Right. Yeah.
It.
Not to toot my own horn, but my son's pretty smart.
It ain't your horn; it's your son's.
Right. Or to toot his horn. But anyways,
ego there, Tommy D.
Yeah, sorry. But but that's the point, though, is seeing them grow. When we just had our first and second round of striping, and the look on the kids' faces when they go from not being able to even be partners, and these are like 4 and 5-year-olds are doing
striping.
Okay, so striping and karate, or at least our school specifically, I have 4 stripes. The first stripe is, do you understand the patterns of movement? Can you, if I say, what is a high block, can you go, okay, I have this idea of that. The second thing that I do with it is, okay, the practical application of it. Now we take it from memorizing the motor skills to then using it in drills, and then sparring and grappling. But then the third stripe is all about the right attitude. And I bake that in to the classes through encouraging volunteering and also doing challenges at home, because I want to take the values that I'm in the dojo and then take it with them into their home and the community.
Do you do the striping into the advanced belts as well?
Yes, all the way up to black.
That's really good, Tom, because I noticed that a lot of people drop off around purple belt because the time span is longer. You don't feel like you're making progress.
Right.
From white to gold, it's like 30 or 60 days.
Right.
Okay. Gold, it's like months.
Right. And that's one thing that's a little bit different about our school too. To get your black belt, you have to be in our classes for about 6 to 9 years.
Mhm.
It's a very long time. And the way that I've paced the belts has actually been very beneficial because the primary reason of which being that each belt takes about 4 to 6 months with 1 month per stripe approximately.
Mhm.
So it's actually what it's actually turned into is a very good goal setting tool so that it keeps the kids engaged, but it's not, but it's also a little bit of a longer period too, to where they get used to the idea of that they have to really work for stuff and it's going to take time.
And it just
So
gives you a
it's,
little bit of, multiple carrots to go for, that you know that you're
Mhm.
still in the game and you feel progress rather than, geez, it feels like I plateaued. I'm not really learning anything. Why am I paying this?
Yeah. And then by the time they get to red belt and that sort of stuff, that's when it takes longer. Red belt takes about 1 to 2 years. Brown belt takes about 2 to 3.
But you're
So
still
that's
doing that
where it
striping in there though.
correct.
So
Yep.
that's what helps keep people, okay, I feel some progress here.
Yeah. That and the other thing too is the fun part about it too, and my son and I were screwing around with it last night, is bunkai, if you're familiar with the term.
Mm.
Okay, so bunkai is the analysis of kata. So you take the moves and then see, okay, how could I use this? And it last night, my son had this moment of where I get it, and we were playing around with it and that sort of stuff, and we were playing around with wrist grabs to the point where I was like really holding and gripping hard. And just playing with the different moves in the kata, he was able to toss me around and stuff like that when I was really trying hard to not move my arms. So,
Mhm.
but that's what makes it so fun. So as they get into that, we do imagery and a lot of like mindfulness. So it makes it a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about our local community.
Right.
So the things going on, because that's kind of what this is about. The way I publicized this was the community news. And
Yeah. Sorry. I'm obsessive when it
no,
comes to
we did a
karate. It's
little
my passion.
introduction. I mean, that's how I run this thing. So people get to know who you are, get to know,
Yeah.
like, trust who the heck you are. And then now they know a little bit about you. That's what, like, this is like a cup of coffee. It's just hanging out and learning. Do
Yeah.
I like this guy or do I not like this guy?
Well, and one of those things I think that kind of crosses over into, especially with the community part, is um, anchors is kind of what I was thinking about. Having different places that you go to that that hey, I have friends there.
Yeah.
And especially just for myself as an adult, when I was a kid, it was really easy to make friends because you all came to school, right?
Yep.
And we all had the same thing. We were in classes, so there was an excuse to be able to talk to each other. But as an adult, and especially just with how digital everything has gotten, it makes it a lot harder to make friends.
Well,
Yeah,
that being said, Norm, rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but he had cheers that he can hang out with. But
right.
another thing I admire about what you got going, because I'm a non-drinker, I don't do
Same
that
here.
stuff, and that's how you seem to roll as well. When I don't know, that's not a good stuff. That stuff's not good. And going to see your friends at a bar drinking beer, I don't know if that's a great thing. Where I think it'd be more fun to go play pickleball or go, stuff uh, beans in a bag for food shelves, or
Right.
go play top golf or go work out on the beach or something.
Right, and something that you can really like bring your kids and families to,
Yep.
because I mean that's really the future of community, and to me, being able to include your families in the places that you go to frequently, I think is really important.
Well, there's a friend of mine that's what she wants to do, is build sort of a second family where you can drop your kids off and you can leave and still trust that they're going to be taken care of, and
Right,
even brought up and disciplined right by the other people.
right.
They're sort of an extended real family.
It's that village. It takes a village to
Yeah.
raise a to raise
So let's talk
to
about
raise a
some of the
child.
events, because I know that you're participating in the 49ers Days parade,
Right.
and then also a vendor table at the 49er Days on Saturday. And then you just did something over at Springbrook Nature Center, which is
Yes.
over kind of by East River Road on 80th or something like that, 85th.
Yeah, right around there. It's very confusing because it's like right on the border of what Fridley and is it St. Louis Park? not
Coon
St. Louis
Rapids.
Park. It's
Coon
Coon
Rapids.
Rapids. I'm horrible with the borders, but yeah, it was the environmental fun fair, and it was really cool because it was the first time that I've really been able to engage the community like that from the martial arts standpoint, and it was fun to see the different types of people that would come, and it just gave me a bunch of ideas, like the idea of reaching out, like say co-ops, like the homeschool co-ops and things like that. But it's one thing to be able to have ideas and to be at the dojo and things like that, and it's another to be out there and actually engaging people. The other one that we're going to be going to as well is the Anoka County Fair is one that I'm working on. And then also there is a 5 to 50K baby back run in August. I can share that information with you later, but that's a 5K to raise some money for, I believe, the Children's Hospital, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think that's cool that you got a team of people that they're working out together and things, and then on other times they can get together and they could help make things work better.
Right. But and having those types of events and things like that, I think is really important for everybody able to come together. To me, that's the important part, is that togetherness, the fellowship.
Well, that's my concern with Fridley is they're popping up all these apartments, and I understand that they're money makers for the city and people have to have a place to live, but there's not much to do anymore. And I like that they're doing some stuff in that Commons Park area with splash pads, and they're going to have like mini amphitheaters and things in there. So there's more happening there. There's also the new Brighton Community Center has got a lot of, it's like a ball crawl thing in there. And they do a farmer's market there, so that's a place to go and participate in things in our North Metro area. You don't have to drive to Bloomington to find something,
Right. And especially because, we're all cooped up inside for like 9 months a year.
Yeah.
It's fun to be able to get outside and to be able to see people.
Well, there's probably things that we'll come up with that are when you are cooped up. Maybe we say, hey, we're going to do a little progressive dinner thing. And just in the local area, we'll go do that with all of our friends, or let's get together and play Monopoly or something. We'll sit on the floor at the library or something,
Right. And that's the important thing is, but like you said, with the libraries having those spaces, and they're there, it's just a matter of bringing people to them. And that's my goal with that, is to be able to do community events, to bring people together, to make connections, because those connections is how you start going down the road that you want. The more people that you meet, the more ideas you get, and the more,
I'd like to find some more event in type people. So like if someone like I told you, I don't want to get back into events, producing them myself. I'm trying to get out of that niche or rut or whatever I'm in. But there's people that want to do that kind of stuff and are good at it. And there's an idea that maybe you could do a variety show, do some martial arts demonstrations. I could do some magic. Someone else can do some tap dancing, and somebody could come in and do some part.
Like maybe a comedy show or something like that, I mean, but yeah, having groups of people like that, I think, is a really cool idea, because then you have a network of different people with different talents and things like that you can go and have some fun with. Because to me, that's the most important part, because that brings everybody together, and that is how we grow as a society. Because when we're all splintered and separated, we all have our things, and we kind of start to not care about each other. But when we get to know each other, you start building those connections, and it helps people grow, to heal, and to expand, I think, as people.
Well, there's just simple things that people don't realize, that when you start building this like second family, this second ring family kind of thing, that if you're driving down the road and you have a flat tire, you can call somebody up and they might help you.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you got a drinking problem, you want to talk to somebody, and I need somebody to talk to, I'm getting depressed. There's people out there that you don't even know me real well, but I met you at Moore Lake and we picked up stuff, and remember me? Oh yeah. And then
yeah.
You can help.
I mean, one of the families that trains with us now actually met us when we were over there. So it's just, you never know how, when you meet people, what will happen. I mean, take how you and I met. I mean, I never thought that I would have, met somebody like you, that we had that type of a connection, especially with the martial arts and stuff. So
I had a conversation with a magician friend of mine. I went to a magic convention last week, and I've known him for a long, long time. And I knew that he had a background in martial arts, but we ended up talking about it, and he knew like the Park Academy in Rochester and Byung-Yu Lee. I forgot what his school is called, and we knew a lot of common people and didn't
Right.
realize it before. So that's what
Yeah.
helps, is do these things, get together, and all of a sudden, oh my God, our brothers went to school together. I remember they used to come over, and you have all that epiphany that you got more history than you know.
Yeah. Well, and you know, especially just with you know, they say statistically the depression and anxiety are on the rise, and having people who you trust, who feel that care about you is really important to that. It's a really good antidote to a lot of those mental health issues that a lot of people are having these days.
Well, I think a lot of the reason that people are having those things is they do these things, and this
Hmm.
seems like, I'm sitting by myself scrolling through YouTube videos, and I think that I'm enjoying myself, but it's really just a distraction from what you really, really
Hmm.
want. And what you really want is human interaction,
Yeah.
someone you can talk to. So just realizing that, to be able to say, you know what, I don't need this. I'll just call up Tommy and meet him over at Caribou, and we're going to talk about how my wife's making fish, and I don't like fish. And
Oh.
you can say, you know what, I'll drop a hint and I'll let her know that.
I,
It's not true though. I don't mind fish.
I love fish. I took my son over to the sushi place. He's really gotten big into it. He never used to like it for the last couple of years because, yeah, he loves fish now. But you know, but being able to do stuff like that is just really nice.
It
You know,
is.
and but then you know, taking that and then doing like say having pizza parties or that sort of stuff, and really be able to give a space for the kids too, I think is huge.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it's I will say probably my favorite part about all of it is seeing where you have a kid that maybe he or she was having a hard time with his wigglies, and then you're giving them that stripe, and you're telling them, you know, just how proud of how proud of them you are. You know, it's that's to me is the most rewarding part about all of this stuff, because and that to me is the essence of why community is so important to me, is because seeing people go from point A to point B is a miracle to me.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how much you gain through the martial arts as far as confidence and discernment, and then the friends around. Because I remember a guy, not a guy, he's a little kid. He was short, fat, clumsy. He was just like a clod. And I didn't think he was going to go anywhere. And he ended up being grand champion multiple times.
That's so
Maybe you know
cool.
his name, David Ingen.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I
He was at
apologize.
he was
I'm
at
not the
Miller
best with
School.
names.
He was
What's
at
that?
Miller School, but I remember him. He
Hmm.
was pudgy and clumsy, and then all of a sudden it just did it, and he got it. I mean, he's kind of amazing. Now he's a professor, I believe.
Oh, cool.
So it
But you
went
know,
somewhere.
and that's the fun part, is that you just, you know, you're like even when going to the gym, it's like you never know who you're going to meet. You know, I've made so many connections just by having a space like that to go to where people go and hang out. So for me, the gym has always been on top of the dojo, has always been an important part in terms of community for me too. And but to your point, it's like you end up meeting those people at those places.
Well, the cool thing about what you're doing with the community events is it lends itself to that. We're going to rotate now, different partners, whereas you don't necessarily get that at the gym because oftentimes it's a solo workout.
True,
There
true.
are
But yeah,
some
yeah.
teamwork stuff, the tennis and the pickleball and stuff like that, but oftentimes you don't just tap someone on the. Well, some of the weightlifters do that. Hey, man, you spot me?
Right. Yeah. I
Like,
mean, there is a little bit of that, but you do call it a good point. Is that something where it forces you to interact? You have to have that forced interaction,
oh,
because that, you know, the less that you like with YouTube is a good example that you were just talking about. The more that you replace human interaction with technology, the less that you want to interact with people.
yeah.
It's because the phone's just easier.
And I would say instead of the word forced, I mean, it gets okay, but it sounds forced. It's more giving permission. You have
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got the permission to walk up to this person because, I was with him and we were comparing the strawberry lemonade and the other lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
comfortable talking to him now rather than Go talk to that guy. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, it gives an excuse, that common thing to talk about, you know?
Yeah. Well, we've gone for 24 minutes. Can you believe it?
No, I thought it was about 5.
I know that I do a lot of these things, and it just does kind of just blast by. But is there something you want to share before we close this off, and then you can hang in the green room, and I'll come and visit, and we can talk about some stuff.
For
What do you
sure,
want to
for sure.
share with what you started with Delta Chi and
Yeah,
where's
you
it
know,
going?
the big thing that I want to share is that the spirit that I came from starting Delta Chi is that generosity begets generosity, and that the more that we help each other, the more that we'll get help too. And so that's why I don't charge tuition at our school. We take donations, and we have supporting memberships. So that's the spirit of it is. And you know what? It's counter to what I've heard a lot of people say. The people that have come to our school have really wanted to be there, and it really has. I'm blessed with the way that it's turned out, because it really has been an amazing experience so far.
Well, very cool, Tommy. I'm gonna put you into the green room, and I do have more. We did a change. There's new digital hors d'oeuvres back there, so if you want to help yourself, again, we've got.
I might take some home with me.
You might as well. You can actually just upload them.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Yeah, you just
easier.
upload them and then just download them into your refrigerator or whatever, because it's all digital. It's really cool.
It's like Star Trek.
You hang tight. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Well, there you have it, my friend Tommy. I call him Tommy D. I don't know why, I just do. But he started this thing, and it's pretty cool. Delta Chi. The website is deltachi.org. And we're looking to maybe do these on a regular basis and focused on community and primarily the northern suburbs, I think, because that's kind of where we live. And there's plenty going out by the Mall of whatever you call it. Mall of America. Is that what it is? We've got to have a Mall of Fridley. Okay, so here once again, this is his domain name. If you want to go to his website and check things out, it's deltachi, Kai.org. So that's .org. And that's all I got for you. Again, my name is Brad. I go by MagicBrad. And if you want, you can just search it on the internet, and you'll find the good, the Brad, and the ugly. Okay, peace, love, and